there's the exit for Hurricane, which means we are on our way to Zion National Park today. It's a beautiful day. Zion Canyon should look pretty awesome today. So, looking forward to going there. And I'm glad you're here with us. Here we go. We just went through Hurricane, and now we're in the small little town of La Verkin. And we're going to go over a bridge here in a little bit. That might be hard to tell from your vantage point, but they actually filmed a 1970s horror classic. Well, I don't know if it's a classic. Horror movie, let's just say, called The Car, starring James Brolin. And there was nothing much else around here back at that time. The bridge is coming up down there. You see some cars going over it down there. And yeah, right as you come into La Verkin, you go over the bridge. It goes over the Virgin River. And there was a scene in the movie The Car where they ran a cyclist. One of the cyclists was run off of this bridge. Of course, it couldn't happen now because look at all that protective fencing. So the car wouldn't have been able to get him, maybe. Well, it would have got him, but not knocked him off the bridge. It would have just crushed him against the fence. Because that's not much better. Anyway, this is the town of La Verkin. They did film a couple scenes of The Car in Zion National Park, which they don't do things like that now. They don't film. I don't think they're allowed to film movies in national parks anymore. But yeah, if you want to watch the first like 5-10 minutes of that movie, you'll see some scenery from around this area that we're driving through the day. So we're on our way again to Zion National Park. We're going to take the turn pretty quick here, and we'll be there probably. It takes us about 30 minutes from here to get to the park. So I'll probably come back to you when we are going through Springdale, which is the town that borders Zion National Park. So I'll see you in a bit. In the distance there to the left, you can see Zion National Park. You can see part of the canyon right there, at least the backside of it. You're getting a pretty good view of it now as we're getting ready to head into the little town of Virgin, named after the Virgin River. You know, when I was a kid, there was not much of anything up here. Now, every time I come back, there seems to be more housing developments, more lodges, lodges or hotels and stuff. They keep building up closer and closer to Zion. In fact, like the town we're going to go through, Springdale, I don't remember it being much of anything, and now it's this huge, well, it's not a major city, but it's a huge tourist trap. A lot of people will stay there, and there's shops and hotels and lodges and restaurants there. So a lot of people visiting Zion who can't stay in the park, they just stay in Springdale. And now they have a shuttle service that will run through the town, because there's parking areas all through the town of Springdale. And when I came here with my parents, when I was a mere lad, you know, you just didn't have all that. The park wasn't as widely known. Now, you come to this park, it's in the summertime anyway, it's kind of like going to Disneyland, which I will admit sort of ruins the experience a little bit. So I have tried to come more in the off season. The first time, well, when I came a few years ago, it was the summer of 2020 during the pandemic, and so there was like no one here, and that was great. That was a good time. But every other time I've come in the summer, it's been too much. And you're just waiting in these long lines to ride the tram that can take you into the canyon, and you can't drive into the canyon anymore except for just a couple months out of the year. And when I was young, my dad would drive into the canyon. We drove in the canyon, we stayed at the lodge. I came back with them a few years later, stayed at the lodge again. You could drive into the canyon. They didn't have a tram service. I'm starting to sound like a grumpy old man. They didn't have no tram service. Flippity flu. Anyway, they now have that, and so you have to be a guest at the lodge in order to be able to drive into the canyon, except for like a couple months out of the year. I think maybe in January and February, because I was here last January and I could drive through the canyon, and that was cool. But I think even today it is Thanksgiving break, so there's probably a lot of people coming up here to visit. But I'm thinking it might not be as bad as it usually is in the summertime. Well, we'll find out, won't we? Check out those tent structures there up on the hill. Another place that's on the newer side. It's been there for a couple years, but they seem to keep adding to it or enhancing it. So you could come and probably spend $250 to sleep in a tent. I don't know how much it costs. I should check it out, just out of curiosity. I do apologize. I'm still trying to get a sense for how we want to place the camera, so I don't know if it's being placed exactly the same way each time. I'm trying to get a sense of what's good. Oh, off to the right here, there are a whole bunch of those Silver Bullet trailers, and that is a place where you can go and pay money to stay in a Silver Bullet. Some of you might not know what those are. I'll post a picture of it. Welcome to Rockville. They have lots of rocks here. And trees too, as you can see. There's a lot of these homes right here, and they've, oh, did you see little Sebastian there? Anyway, there's a lot of these homes here in the town of Rockville, and they're built right up next to these cliffs, and they've utilized the fallen boulders and rocks in their landscaping. And there's one problem with that, because those boulders and giant rocks used to be part of that cliff. And so there's a high probability that if you live right up next to that cliff and you have those big rocks in your yard, that more of them may come. And they may not land where you want them to. That's right, they may land right in your house, right in your living room. But it is, it's pretty neat. The landscaping is really neat. All right, so we're about to enter into Springdale. Go around a couple more curves here. And then you get your first real glimpse of Zion National Park from the right side, not from the back side. Springdale. And you're going to start to see these little walkways here, because people will be parked all the way back here, and we'll walk up here, catch trams. Of course, they use it as like a trail, exercise trail, biking trail and stuff, but a lot of parking areas. You can see the little bus stops, little tram stops. Looks like there's parking available at the visitor center in Zion. In the summer, that just doesn't happen unless you get here at the crack of dawn. And if you are visiting here and you're going to park, you do need to get a parking permit. They have little kiosks every so often here along the road. You're probably seeing those. Yeah, in the summertime, this will just be clogged with cars. This is really a much better time to come. But it's cold, which I don't mind, but it's not for everybody. It gets pretty chilly. I mean, don't let the clear skies fool you. It's 53 degrees out here right now. But it's warmer here than it is at Bryce. You go up to Bryce Canyon, their low tonight's going to be 11. You know, the other thing I remember when I was younger is that once you got to around this area, I think even before this, before Springdale, the road was paved with like reddish asphalt that blended in or kind of matched the rock from the canyon walls here. It was really cool. It was a neat little extra thing that we enjoyed as kids. It was like, knew you were getting close to the park because the road is reddish now. I think they still have some of the roads that are like that, but they've kind of gone away from that, as you can see. Just regular old boring blacktop. I thought that dump truck was going to play chicken with that motorhome there. He's like, all right, let's see what you got. Now, they did have to rebuild a few things out here because I think it was 2 years ago, they had a real bad flash flood up in the canyon. And so that flood rushed down the Virgin River and flooded this area. Not the whole town, but it flooded some parts of it. We're seeing some people parking in this area. But not sure it's necessary because there should be parking available at the visitor center. So we're getting close. Got a line to get into the park. But trust me, in the summer, it's way worse than this. This is not that big a deal. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and buy my pass, and then we'll see what else we can find. All right, well, that was a wash. We got the pass for the park, went through paid for that, but the visitors center lot was full. So they had said there was parking, but there was no parking, and the tram line was pretty long. So I decided, let's just go ahead and drive through, and then we'll go to the big tunnel, the Zion Mount Carmel tunnel, which is the longest tunnel I've ever been in. So that's what we'll do. You can enjoy the sights. Well, you can see that here in the park, this part of the road is that kind of reddish asphalt that I was telling you about. So you do have some of that. But I seem to remember it starting like earlier, before you even got to the park. I'll have to check with my dad about that. He remembers things like that. So he will be able to confirm that. But you can see the patchwork that's done, like coming up here, is with blacktop. So I don't know if they're going to phase it out. But it is a kind of, a neat little gimmick. I don't know if it's a gimmick, but it is pretty cool. So you can see down into the canyon there. Nice scenic drive that you can take all the way down there to the Narrows. You can walk into it takes a while to walk into Narrows, but they got several stops, including the Zion Lodge. And you can even drive through there and get to Angel's Landing and take that dangerous hike if you wanted to. They got chains that you can grab a hold, climb yourself all the way to the top. Wow, Dad, can we go on it? No. But like I said, you can't do that because they only let the trams down the Scenic Drive this time of year. And I wouldn't do the Angel's Landing hike. That's just not for me. I think tomorrow I'm going to try and get up to a lookout point, but just not do the last part of it with the chains, because that's a little bit intense. And it's a little bit scary to me. I don't like heights. Well, that's the thing. Heights don't really... I mean, I can enjoy like a nice scenic view, but if I'm standing right next to the edge and there's no like guardrail or anything, then I'm not going to be a happy camper. So I guess, and so if I'm just climbing up that, and there's just these basically chains that you're using to help, and then of course, if it rains, if it gets misty at night, and then sometimes the temperatures drop below freezing and you can have spots of ice up there, yeah, I don't really want to take that chance. People die on that hike quite often. I don't know if I would say it happens every year, but it happens quite a lot. Well, it is pretty busy through here, but like I said, even though it's busy, it's not near as bad as it is in the summer. But if you really want to come at a time when there's like hardly anyone here, you got to come that first week of January where it's really cold. And if you go up to Bryce during that time of year, there's even less people because it's even colder. That's your life hack message of the day. this part of the canyon wall that we're looking at. If you look real closely, you can see a hole there. That's where that's one of the holes cut out partway through the tunnel. The tunnel we're about to go through. This time of day, they guide you through the tunnel because it's tight spots in there, and so motorhomes and different trucks and stuff, they only allow one-way traffic. If you come late, or like you come in at night in the evening, you can just drive through it as many times as you want. Well, I mean, you can drive through it as many times as you want now, but you usually have to wait in line because it's one-way traffic only. So they let one side go and then they let the other side go. But in the summer, if you do come in the summer, one of the best times to still be in the park is between like 7:30 and 9, because a lot of people who've come for the day, they leave, go back into Springdale, or back to St. George and Hurricane surrounding areas, and they have dinner and they go back to their hotels. And there'll be a few people here, but as it gets closer and closer to dusk, there's fewer people in the park, and it's really nice to drive through here. So one time we were driving through in the evening during the summer, and we saw a whole bunch of bighorn sheep, and that was really cool. Just a big herd right off the side of the road. So a lot of us were pulled over, a lot of people pulled over to look at that, and then some, like what happens is some dummy decided to get too close for a picture, and they all scattered and ran away. Don't do that. You see the wildlife? Leave them alone. Don't do that. Don't mess with them. Never ceases to amaze me, the people who do that up at Yellowstone in particular. They try to get close to the buffalo, to the bison, and people get like charged and gored almost every year. And I'm like, what are they doing? So don't do that. All right, so we got to wait for our turn, and then we'll go. All right, it's our turn. Or maybe not quite. They let a few cars go. It might be because we've got this motorhome ahead of us, so they're going to be cautious when it's that might be what's going on. So if there's a motorhome or a larger vehicle, they'll let you wait, but they may send a few smaller cars through because there's plenty of room for them, and two-way traffic if you have just regular cars. Because they did let 3 or 4 cars go, it looked like. But it's almost our turn. So this tunnel is 1.1 miles long. And we'll go through a big opening. It'll be kind of like a window that they carved out of the rock. And through this tunnel, and at that one space in particular, and down this road that we've been traveling, is where they filmed some more of that, not really a classic horror movie, The Car, but maybe more of a cheesy 70s horror movie, The Car, starring James Brolin. Was filmed in this area. Okay, here we go. Get ready to live. Who out there likes tunnels? Ah, everyone likes tunnels. Sure you do. Turn lights on, remove sunglasses, no stopping. Wow, they're real picky. Now, it's true, you don't want to have your sunglasses on in the tunnel. And that's okay, because I lost my sunglasses. They were new, and I don't know what I did with them. All right, here we go. Yeah, I like honking in tunnels too, but not when there's a whole bunch of people here. Don't do that! I guess it's not that big a deal. You know, it's nice how they give you these little windows. Well, not really window, whatever you call them, cut in the side there, just to let you know, hey, look, you know, you can get out if you really have to. If you get stuck. Well, not really, because it's a sheer drop out of those windows. But I guess it makes some people who are claustrophobic feel a little bit better. Gets a little more airflow flowing through the tunnel. I thought this was the neatest thing when I was a kid. A tunnel over a mile long. I mean, you can't beat that. And then we come out the other side, and it's just going to be still in the park, but the landscape's just different because you're out of the Zion Canyon area into a different part of the park, and it's just neat. The differences in geology within the same park. It's pretty cool. There it is, the light at the end of the tunnel. Which is, it's always great to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Unless it's a train coming at you. Oh, I know. I love that old joke. I overuse it. I use it way too much. Alright, so here we come out the other side. What's going on this side? Guy was backing out. Oh well. Snooze, you lose. So as you can see, it's just a totally different vibe over here on this side of the park. By the way, it's 48 degrees now. A little warmer down in the canyon area. You get up out of there and it's a little bit cooler. And off to the side I see some snow and ice. Not a whole lot of it, but there is some. So they had at least a little bit of snow in the last couple weeks, but not a whole lot. There's just little remnants here and there. See that on the road back there? Looked like someone's automobile had been leaking some fluids. Well, I'm not going to let it ruin my vacation. Oh, that's right. I forgot about this little mini tunnel. Mini tunnel! So this is going to be one of my longer videos. I generally try to keep the videos shorter, but I just feel like this one works best all together. So you can get the complete experience. Hope that's okay. That guy had a teddy bear snow cap on. How cute. Yeah, I love these rock formations because some parts of it looks like it's like frosting. It kind of reminds me of that. And you can go climb, you find a place to park, you can climb on all these rocks within reason. A lot of families will stop and kind of walk around the area. Some areas, of course, are safer than others, so you have to use wisdom. Be cautious. And you got to watch out for wildlife. And you have to leave no trace if you go hiking. Respect the park. That really gets me when people come to these beautiful places and they just litter. They just leave stuff. I mean, I don't like that in the national forests either. I mean, anytime you do that in nature, I think it's just a demonstration of poor behavior. But it's really bad when you see it in a like a national park. It's just like, why are you doing that? So don't do that. Respect the park. Clean up after yourself. Don't be a slob. Thankfully, though, that the littering that I've seen in national parks seems to be, from my experience, the exception rather than the rule. So, but you go down to Southern California in the national forest areas, and people and the beaches, people litter like crazy down there, and that's just sad. I don't like it one bit. All right, I'm gonna get off my soapbox there. So over here, to the right here, is where we saw those bighorn sheep. Or in this area. I don't think it was right at that spot, but it's pretty close to here. So you just walk right up on that frosted hillside. Take it back. It was this area is where we saw the bighorn sheep. That's where it was. I misspoke earlier. I was mistaken. Oh, a little bit of ice on the side of the road there. I don't know if you were able to see that. And there's people here, obviously, and the spots are, some of the spots are full, but this part of the park is way less populated. The canyon itself, Zion Canyon, is what the park's most famous for, and the attractions within that area. driving by Checkerboard Mesa, which is right off here to the right. And you get around this curve up here and there's a viewpoint. You can get some pictures of that. And there's the park exit on the East Rim trailheads over here to the left. And so now we are leaving Zion National Park, which means that mesa right there, you're just not important enough. These mesas over here, not important enough. They had to draw the line somewhere, I guess. Wonder how they decided that. It's like, yeah, over here, beautiful stuff. We need to preserve it. Over here, it's okay. It's all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed that drive through Zion National Park. And we'll catch you next time. Have a great one, everybody. See you soon.